All right, guys, welcome back to Beyond Boundaries. Today we got something a little bit different. No guest today, but me and JJ are going to be going through some questions that were sent in from our viewers. JJ?
Yeah, so I've got a question for you. I know that we're going to start off with a little bit of flow and we're just going to, I guess, have a conversation because it's been a while since we've been here, but we've done about 8-9 episodes. This will be our 9th. What do you reckon has been your most favourite one so far?
It's a hard one. They're all pretty good, you know. I really liked how when we started off, obviously, it was just me and you, and we were like going through our debating and our questions ourselves. But to be honest, I can't really pinpoint one that was our favourite. You know, like all of them were actually unique in their own way, which taught the audience a lot about that individual person that we were interviewing. How about you?
For me, I think Bailey, the one with Bailey was pretty good. I think that was my favourite one so far. But I'd say that all of them are all good in somewhat form because they all are pretty good. And the reason I think they're all pretty good is because every single time you can see that we're improving. And I think you can definitely see that things are getting tweaked, different ways of communication, different skills, I guess, are sort of uprising, which is really important. So I think that's one amazing thing as we go on. I think we're going to improve. And I think you get to see different sides of ourselves come out because it might be more pressure, it might be a different individual that we might have on our podcast that we're interviewing that we have not met yet. And I think that might put us out of our comfort zone. You know, meeting a new person, it could be a bit nerve-wracking, maybe the caliber of the man or woman, whatever it is. So it puts us in situations where we have to think on the spot, we have to use our active listening, and we just have to be the best versions of ourselves. Yeah,
I definitely agree on that. Like, at the end of the day, it all comes down to the individual that we're interviewing. You know, our minds and pretty much moods can change while interviewing different people, you know, from what they're talking about as well. But, like you said, your favourite one's Bailey's. Like, I could pinpoint a favourite one. It would be probably Navar's, the most recent one.
Navar's, yeah.
Because he really went into depth with what he was talking about and, you know, with his religion and his background. But, so far I reckon we're doing pretty good. At the end of the day, we are improving a lot more. But even, like, coming in today, it still feels like, as I just said, it still feels like it's the first time we're doing it. You know, like, it's still hard to pretty much come up with things on the spot. Yes. And I think we're actually doing really well considering we didn't grow up with this background.
No, not at all.
Before we started this, we were never pretty much put in front of cameras. You know, we never spoke in front of cameras. We never spoke to audience. We never interviewed people. So in saying that, we actually are doing pretty good and we're improving slowly.
Absolutely. And like you said, it's definitely going to be a bit difficult sometimes as well, especially from the background of that. But, you know, it's really comforting to know that we are stepping up into our roles and stepping up to be able to do this, being able to create this podcast, being able to expand, being able to express, but also being able to give value to people that, you know, we care about, but also for the next generation, but also people that just want to be encouraged, people that want to be empowered. And I think that's one thing as well. I was doing this, there might be other young lads, maybe 15, they might be seeing what we're doing and they can say, oh, well, if these guys can do it, we can do it as well. We can be, you know, men that are leading by example and showing people that, podcasting might be a bit hard. Maybe you don't want to jump in front of cameras. It's going to be hard to think of things on the spot. You know, energy can change, moods can change depending on the person, like you said, or the people that we're interviewing, but you can still step up and you can still do it.
Yeah, create that butterfly effect for other people to see and follow.
Absolutely.
I definitely agree with that. What I was going to say as well is we do this out of our own will. You know, it's not like we're getting paid to do this at all.
Yeah,
we're spending the money to provide value and good content for our audience, which in a way, like, I don't think a lot of people understand, you know, trying to find the time to do it as well with me and you both working, you know, I work away, you work away as well. Trying to find the time is hard, but we still manage to get around it and work around that to create content for our audience, which is a really good thing as well. You know, we're still stepping up. We're putting ourselves under pressure just to, you know, create the valuable content that we want to provide.
Yeah, nice. And that's really important, what you just labelled there as well, about doing it out of our free will. Maybe there's times where we don't want to do it as well. 100%. You know, maybe we're busy, like you said, like you've been back from work and you've been moving houses as well. And you could have easily, if you wanted to say, I don't want to do it today because I've got a lot of stuff to do, you know what I mean? I've got a lot of shit to do, mind my French. But you got a lot of things to do, and you could easily say, okay, like, I don't want to do it because I'm feeling this way. But I think that's one thing that's important about us doing it, you know, with our free will, knowing that, okay, even if we've got tough things going on or adversities or moving houses or doing whatever we're doing with life and the chaotic times of life, we're still going to show up, we're still going to be there, we're going to be present, and we're going to work on our personal development, and obviously, like you said before, release the good content to people and the value that people that want to be encouraged as well, which is really important. Hey,
yeah, and I really hope like the people that do watch do find value from it, because you know what I want to see as well within Beyond Boundaries is the audience interacting. You know, like what we're doing today is the Q&A, but we want to see more people actually interacting with like our stories online, you know, asking questions that, you know, we find hard to answer ourselves. And like, speaking of that, today we're going to be answering questions from our own experience. You know, it might be wrong to you, but it's right to us because it's what we've experienced.
Yeah.
And that's all it comes down to, is like, we're not professionals in the game. You know, we've only just started, so we can only speak from our experience.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like you said, from our experience, from our perception as well. So even the Q's and A's, you know, whatever we answer, I know for the viewers, for they understand, it's obviously from our perspective, and it's good for them to understand that it's only going to be from our perspective as well. And if it gets them a bit pissed off, or, you know, they might have a little bit of a bias, that's okay. You know, that's a part of life and that, and I think people should understand that, that's for sure. And it's interesting as well, being able to see people understand our story, but being able to get people to see things we could improve on, but also things that we could change as well within our podcast, within what we're doing, the value that we're adding, but also getting the value that they need as well. Because everything is perspective and everything is perception. And obviously everyone has different lenses they look out of and different ways of filtering through information as well. So it's always good to get authenticity, and I think it's always good to get encouraged by other people, but also getting words of encouragement from other people where they can tell us, hey, this could be a little bit better. You know what I mean? 100%. Or maybe I didn't agree with that, and it's like, okay, well, we can sit down like men, you know, adults, men and women, whoever it is, and have a mature conversation, a professional conversation about, you know, whatever you might have a disagreement on and what could be better as well.
Well, yeah, it comes down to that tough love. You know, we want that authentic feedback so we can provide better content. If we don't get told that, you know, oh, maybe you could change it up a bit, then we're always going to be doing the same thing. You know, at the end of the day, me and JJ always review and come back down to understanding of that things can't always be the same. So we have to, like, obviously change a few things here and there. Like where we first started in the first podcast room, you know, obviously wasn't suitable for us. And now we found a spot where we can actually, you know, evolve in and grow and get looked after by our producer and the people that own this spot.
That was a good word of encouragement there.
That's good. Like, and then you always got to pretty much move up. Obviously, like, sometimes things are going to change, but within ourselves as well. It's not always just going to be the little things. It's big changes as well.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And yeah, that's one thing as well that's going to be really important, is focusing on those little things that can be tweaked. And, you know, those big improvements, we're going to focus on that big goal that's going to come, and it's definitely going to come no matter what. Like, you know, by force, by fire, it's definitely going to happen. Those big goals will come, but making sure those little things are tweaked, those little things we can get from, you know, the things we pick up as well. And I think that comes with self-examination. I remember we spoke about that, or I might have said that on another podcast, about the importance of self-examining and self-analyzation and being able to see things from a different viewpoint as well, to see how we can improve. And like you said, it's good to be in a safe location, you know, where we can express, but also having, you know, Ben, our producer, being able to help out with the way we do things and structures and routine and how we could present our communication a certain way. And I guess it gives us a free space to be able to grow, but also from, you know, words from other people, which is going to be really cool.
100%. So really what we're saying is that people that are watching this now, you know, if you want to see something on the podcast, or if you think you have a good idea for us, you know, we're always welcoming with open arms. You know, we'll always take it on board, and we'll always brainstorm it to see if it will suit us. You know, if you want to see a certain guest, or if you want, you know, us to answer certain questions or talk about certain topics, just hit us up. Me and JJ, you know, you got our Instagram. I'm pretty sure you know where we are. Even the Beyond Boundaries page, just hit us up.
Yeah, nice. Should we jump into the questions now?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, nice. I'll read the first one out. So the first question's from a guy called James. So it goes like this. What was the main driving force behind the fire that you have pushing forward into an entrepreneur pathway?
I think the main drive for me was growing up in a household of not poverty, but, you know, growing up in a household of pretty much like always living paycheck to paycheck. You know, at the end of the day, like we always had a roof over our head, but I've always wanted and seen bigger things within myself. You know, so I think that's what drives me, you know, my background and where I came from to becoming the person that I want to become, even like my teenage years. Like you make mistakes in life, but it's where you take them mistakes with you in your future. That's where, you know, I find the drive in things that make me want to do this entrepreneurship.
Yeah, nice. No, that's cool. I think that's a really good question, but also a really good answer. I think for me, I'd say family last name. I think that's really cool. Obviously, my mum has put me down here, and it's something that I've probably said in one of the first podcasts. So it ties all the way back to that legacy, right? Family last name. Like, why would I be born into this world if I don't want to step up and show my mum and obviously pay respects to her, especially coming from a single parent household, the man that I can become, the man that I can be, the potency, the substance of a man, the caliber of the man. And I think it will be a little bit of a disgrace if I weren't to step up and be that man that I need to be for her as well, especially for all the things that she's put into me and all the water that she's poured into me for me to be able to step up to become who I need to become. But also I think it links into God. And the reason I say that is because God has made us his best creation. He's made us in his image in that sense. And I think that since he's made us in his image, it's good for us to step up and show him that we are his best creation. And especially it's about, okay, you could settle for less, but I mean, you could also go and take more. And if you have an opportunity, if you have the ability to be able to walk, talk, taste, touch, smell, having all these God-given gifts, like why wouldn't you want to go conquer and go take everything for yours and everything that you truly desire in your heart? I guess that burning desire that you want to be able to reach the goals that you truly desire. Like you may as well go take more. There's no point for settling for a mediocre or mundane type of life. And I think, you know, may as well step up, be that man that you need to be. And I think the world is your oyster.
100%. So we could both say it's personal.
Yeah, definitely.
Like this drive is coming from a personal state of mind where we see ourselves that we could be better than what we used to be, or, you know, be better than the person we want to be.
Yeah, definitely.
I definitely believe that. So I got a question here from Austin, and it goes, I'll say two of the questions because he did ask a few questions.
Yeah.
What is freedom? And are you always living in your true nature?
Easy. So freedom, what is freedom? It's a good question. I mean, from my perception, from my lens, I think freedom is being able to say what you want, do what you want, live what you want, get what you want, obtain what you want, fuck the girl that you want. I think freedom is being able to be location freedom. I think it's being able to have financial freedom, and I think it's all different aspects of life. So freedom to me is not just like one thing. I think it's very broad. I think it's a broad spectrum of different aspects of your life or different areas of your life. So being able to work on all those different buckets, it's like what I might have said to you in another podcast, link back to that, is that I look at life as all these different levels, all these different buckets that you have to go fill up. So it could be like financially, mentally, physically, all these different aspects. That's like, you know, what success is, being able to have everything successful. When I think about freedom, I think about freedom in every aspect. And what was the next one? What is your true nature?
Yeah, what is your true nature? Yeah.
True nature. I think true nature can be what you want it to be. I think if we were going to go from a biological standpoint, I guess my true nature is being a man. I think, you know what I mean, wanting to create. I think men have always been wanting to create since the dawn of human time. So I think that's a part of men's true nature, wanting to go out there, to go conquer, to go take, to go create, to go expand, you know, to go learn and going to be the best version of yourself, but also procreating for your family last name. I think that's what true nature can be. But also true nature can be a little bit of it can be violence as well when you think about it, because I guess there's always been war, there's always been greed and things like that. And I think sometimes true nature, part of our true nature can always be violence as well, depending on, I guess, the circumstance or the situation at hand.
I love that. They're really good answers, and they're pretty much somewhat what I would say as well. But come down to freedom. Freedom could come in any form of state, you know. It depends who you are, really, you know. You could have someone coming out of prison after spending 10 years in there, and that's their freedom, you know, becoming free from the wars of like society and your crimes, you know. Freedom for me is what you pretty much said, like being able to do what you want, when you want, how you want. You know, you don't have anyone really to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
But also it comes down to having freedom within yourself. You know, you're not beating yourself up. You're not telling yourself the wrong affirmations. You know, freedom within yourself is really good as well. And I think, like I said, it comes down to different state of minds and different people. But yeah, I do believe that freedom within yourself is more important than freedom on the outside, because you have to be free. You know, if you're always beating yourself up and you're always going in the same loop every day, over and over again, you're not going to get nowhere. You know, so when you wake up in the morning, you don't feel trapped. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, becoming your true nature. For that means, like, how can I explain it? The nature you surround yourself with, and your morals within yourself. You know, who you truly are. So, like, you could say, like, this could be our true nature here. You know, this is what we're born to do. This is what we want to do. True nature could be, you know, being at home with your family. That's you're being in your true nature there. So, yeah, it comes down to a lot as well. But, yeah, I do believe I am somewhat in my true nature. But I'm going to be honest now as well, is social media can show you things that, you know, seem like you're in your true nature, but you're really not. Like, you could say on social media, it could look like you've been working out every day, but really, you don't really work out at all. So, you know, that could come down to true nature as well. Like, are you really truly living in the nature that you want to be living in?
Nice. Yeah, that's cool. That was a really good answer. And I wanted to tap into freedom for a second, because listen to this. For freedom can also be in the mind, I think, as well, because obviously some people can go through hardships. They can go through mental health problems. They can go through things within self-esteem. So I think sometimes freedom in the mind is more important sometimes than freedom outside, because everything comes from the internal world and then things reflect outwards, right? So I think the quality of your life is the quality of your thoughts. So if you're having good thoughts and you're optimizing yourself, you're being the best version of yourself, the freedom of your mind is going to be good. You're not going to be stuck in a cage, because everything comes outside. So the reflection of inside is, you know, it's going to reflect outside as well. So if everything outside is going to be released and there's going to be freedom inside, you're going to have freedom outside because of the perception or the way you may be operating with your life and so on and so forth.
Yeah, really
that makes sense.
Good way to put it.
Yeah, cheers, bro. And I'll jump on to the next question. So a guy called Wade, first question, he says, opinions on housing market at the moment, good times to buy, and what are good times to invest?
It's kind of hard to put your 2 cents in when you don't really know much about it, but from what I know is the housing market is ridiculous. Maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I think it was about 3 years ago, the housing market was probably the best time to buy. You know, it depends what you want to do. You know, you want to build a house or you want to buy a house. I think building an established property in this housing market is probably the best thing to do, even though it might cost you a bit extra, but it's worth it because you do get the bigger land. Maybe you might have an old house on it, but you can always renovate that house. But like 2-3 years ago is probably the best time to buy. Right now, a lot of people would be sitting on it, but it really depends, you know, obviously what you earn, how much you have saved, blah, blah, blah. But from my insider, apparently the market might be going down in the next couple of years. You know, it comes and goes, it fluctuates. That's the thing. It's really hard to put in your 2 cents when you don't really know much about it.
For sure. Especially I'm not a real estate agent, or I don't have, you know, a big portfolio in that. But yeah, no, absolutely. What you said before, I think, you know, everything is in impermanence and fluctuates, and I think things are going to transition. There might be one guru that says this about the market, and then there'll be like another guru that says this about the market, because I guess that's their own perception that's them projecting out what they think. But I mean, at the same time, I think it comes down to income as well. I think if you're maybe working like a normal 9 to 5 and maybe you're getting like 70, 80 grand a year, I think unless you already have savings and you have things on the side like a business and you're making money. But if you're just working a 9 to 5, I think maybe it's good to have more rules of engagement, more of a structure, more of a plan. Maybe you have to come and actually back yourself up with the right proper information. But I think if you're making a lot of money and you've got like a business for yourself and you're doing really, really well financially, I think no matter what market you're in, I think you could aspire and you can sort things out if you make sure and know that like whatever business that you're in, whatever income that you're making is good. And it's not a 9 to 5, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, there's always a lot of loopholes around it. You know, a 9 to 5, like nowadays, even with the cost of living, having a 9 to 5 job doesn't really pay for much.
Yeah.
But what I think is ridiculous is, so like I've obviously just moved house, you know, finding a rental, there's a massive rental crisis at the moment, and that's only because of the price of rentals. Like the rental that we moved into, and majority of the rentals that we looked at, 700 upwards. 700 a week upwards. That's someone's whole pay pretty much a week. So if you have a family of 4 and you're only making $1,000 a week, how are you even meant to live off $300 for food and bills and stuff like that? But the thing that annoys me is that banks are so harsh on you to say, oh, you need a certain amount of income to pay for a house or buy a house. But yet you have all these rental people out there that are paying upwards of $750 for a week for a house, but the banks aren't willing to give you a mortgage that is probably $750 a week anyways. So it really does, get to me that banks have that power. Like I could easily, me paying $750 a week for a house could easily be $750 a week on mortgage payments. But the bank aren't willing to do that because you don't make enough, because you're paying $750 a week on rent. It's ridiculous, but what can you do about it?
Absolutely. And it is pretty ridiculous. I think it's pretty ludicrous as well. And I think, with that, to tap into the systematic things that they have planned and whatever they're doing, especially for what you just explained and projected and relayed, I think that, obviously the government are trying to make us reliant on things as well. So if they make it so hard for people, people to get up to this certain stage, it's going to be more people that have to be reliant. They're going to have to be reliant on you even more, let's just say, for the government-wise, right? So it keeps people coming back for certain things. So it keeps, people paying taxes. It keeps people under a cage. It keeps people distracted, but also it keeps people staying at a certain level, because I don't want rich people.
No,
they don't want rich people at all, because when you have people rich, I guess they have freedom. And when you have freedom, you have the decision and the opportunity, the time to be able to do what you want. But I guess when you have, people that can't even get the mortgages up and everything as well, because that maybe a normal 9 to 5, things like that happen. They get reliant and they can't really move forward because they're just going to have to be reliant their whole life, which is unfortunate.
There's another thing I wanted to add in that as well. Like if you're looking to buy a house this year, go for it. Like what's stopping you? Nothing's stopping you. But don't be afraid when prices do drop for houses, because obviously the house you just bought is obviously going to drop. So a lot of people do get afraid and scared that, if I buy this house for, let's say, $600,000 or $650,000, in the next 2 years, it might be only worth $550,000. People are going to be scared. They're going to sell. They're going to try to sell it just like that, But you just got to, like, buying a property is somewhat an investment as well. You just got to hold on to it. Prices are always going to fluctuate and go up and down. So if you are looking at buying a house, buy one. Don't be scared if it goes down in the next couple of years, because it's always going to go back up.
Definitely, for sure. And if you've got the money for it, I think why not? Don't be scared of anything. So the second question from Wade is, opinions on diet and healthy food lifestyles, things to implement in the morning to give you a boost for the day.
Things to say it again, sorry?
So opinion on diet and healthy food lifestyles, routines, and good foods to eat in the morning to give you a boost, to give you energy to start your day.
Yep. I think you'd probably be better off answering this one. Like, obviously, I don't really eat much, like breakfast and stuff like that. Maybe at work, sometimes I do. But I guess from my experience, fruits in the morning are always good energy sources to create energy and boost you throughout the day. But like you've said as well, sometimes eating breakfast isn't worth it, because it really makes you more dull during the day. Makes you like full, you're not hungry. And from my experience being at work, like I have breakfast in the morning. You're like working in the mines, they always have like bacon, eggs, hash browns, blah, blah, blah. So like I'll have bacon, egg, hash brown, just on a plate, no bread, nothing. Go to work and I'll be full, and then I'll be lazy because I'm so full.
Yeah.
But then there'll be mornings where I'm like, no, I'm not having that shit. Maybe I'll just have a bowl of Nutri-Grain. And I'll feel so much better, because, my body's not full of that fat or that grease, or it's not full of anything really. And then you can just go throughout your day with that pure energy boost.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree with you as well. I guess my opinion, my perspective lays on what you just said as well. I think it's important to maybe have something in the morning. It doesn't have to be important. I think for me, I used to fast and still do fast quite a lot. And I think I like to eat maybe around like 3, 4 p.m. I like to reward myself to what I eat, right? And the reason I like to do that is because it feels like I'm earning my food. When you think about hundreds and thousands of years ago, our ancestors, they never used to have the opportunity or the time, or they didn't even have shops, and they had to hunt for food, and they had to eat the food. They had no opportunity to go to the shops, buy food, and fill themselves up and get, bloated and obviously have all the blood from your brain rush into your stomach and just feel dumb, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that's the most important thing if you are going to eat in the morning, make sure you have a banana, make sure you have a superfood, maybe sea moss, shilajit, something like that that's going to help you out, maybe give you a bit of a boost, but don't have something too heavy. You know what I mean? Maybe like chickens and heavy meats and everything as well. Because even before, breakfast never used to be a thing. I think for breakfast, it was a propaganda thing. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And we explained that in one of our other podcasts.
Yeah, absolutely. They bring breakfast in because they wanted to sell meat, right? Yeah. So it makes sense that breakfast should not be a thing, especially if you want to go eat before you train or whatever. It's just going to dumb you down. It's not going to be the best. And I think it's just useless eating in the morning unless it's a superfood or unless it's fruit, something light, because you have more energy. And that's one thing I notice when I fast most of the day. I end up having a lot of energy. But if I eat in the morning, like you said, what you phrased, you just be dumbed down.
Yeah. Your body just goes into like, not really panic mode, but it just goes like there's no energy at all when you think you might get energy from it, but you don't.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So one of the last questions as well is also a take on energy drink consumption and how you guys feel about it.
And then day, like, I'll still have a Red Bull in the morning, like no sugar Red Bull. I think that gets me going a little bit, but I've tested it a bit, like being away at work for 2 weeks. You know, you somewhat get to test like different routines and different things that are going to make you feel better to smash through a 12.5-hour day. You know, so like 1 week I'll drink Red Bull no sugar in the morning. You know, just one can. And I'll be all right. You know, I'll be just punching through by 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. You don't feel any different. But then another week, I won't. I'll just have water, maybe a coffee, and I'll feel the exact same. You know.
Yeah.
So really, I think it's more of your body craving something that you think's gonna, like a placebo effect, you think's gonna make you more energized, but really it doesn't. You can literally be more energized of just having water. Throughout the morning.
Yeah.
Plus it's healthier.
Yeah, definitely. No, and that makes a lot of sense. And it's good that you're coming from a place of evidence, which is experience and confidence in what you say as well. I think that energy drinks can be bad if you're having like 5 a day. Do you know how some people have like 5 a day? You have those tradies that have like, 5 dares in the morning and stuff, and like two.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And I think that's really, really bad for the stomach and, gut health as well. And I think that it's only okay to have it, and that is if you can quit anytime. This is with anything, even any substance. Let's just say someone's smoking weed. I don't smoke weed and stuff as well, not anymore. But let's just say someone is smoking weed, but they can quit anytime. They don't have the weed having a hold on them, or they don't have the energy drinks having a hold on them, like an addiction. But I think if you can have something one day and then you can just quit the next day and it's nothing to you, I think that's okay. I think that's when energy drinks can be okay to consume at times, because you just know that you can just click your fingers.
When I was younger, man, like all I used to do before work is get an energy drink and a chicken and cheese from the deli. Nice. And I'd feel like I'm top of the world. I could punch through this day, get it done. But really, it doesn't really do much. Like it's your body that's craving that. Especially when you create a routine of it every day, then that's when your body, you're addicted to it.
Definitely, for sure. And I tap back into food as well. Food is frequency. So, depending on what we eat is depending on what frequency we're going to be operating at as well. That's what I truly believe. So if you're going to be having things like based on sugar all the time, you're just going to be operating at a certain frequency, right? And I guess if you're going to be having superfoods and fruits and stuff, your frequency is going to be operating at a higher level. It's going to be transcending because of the food you just consumed. So I think that's why it's really important to know what you're going to be consuming as well. And if you do consume something, depending if it's like, high level or high bit of sugar and stuff, make sure that's not too much. The consumption's not too high. Like, having 5 in a day or something like that, which is crazy.
Or you get diabetes.
Yeah, diabetes. Yeah, no, absolutely.
I've got a question here as well from a good friend of ours named Bradley. And this might come into what I do. So if I'm working 12 to 14-hour days and then going to the gym afterwards at my job, how can I find time to learn about making money online and investing, as an example, while trying to find time for myself?
Good question.
So yeah, that really relates to me, because obviously I work in the mines and I do work them 12.5-hour days. And it is a bit of a struggle to find time for yourself as well. But like what I've heard before is you have 24 hours in a day. Let's say you work half of it, you sleep 6 hours of it. So what's that? 12, that's 18 hours of a day gone like that. You only have that certain amount of time to actually find yourself. So what I would say to Bradley is change up a routine. Like, you are working 12.5-hour days. You're staying active. You're lifting stuff. You're still working out in somewhat way. Maybe skip gym every second day, so you can spend more time on working on yourself, or spend more time on creating money online if that's what you prefer. But if you're just like going to run yourself down every day, there is going to be no time to do anything. So yeah, what I would say is, create a routine. Chop and change. That's how I get through it. Yeah, gymming every day is good, but if you're working 12.5-hour days and you're doing active work, you're not just sitting behind an office chair and stuff like that, then yeah, chop and change. Spend an hour after work doing what you want with yourself, like spend time for yourself. Then the next day, maybe spend an hour learning online,
Absolutely. I don't have anything to say for that as well, because I think all things have been considered with what you said as well. But I reckon that's a really good answer as well. Being able to chop and change, being able to have a schedule. If you're going to exercise one day, and then the next day you do something online, and then the next day you exercise, and then online, you can just change it up like that. And I think if you really want to put into effort for something, you can make something work. If you really, really desire it and you really, really crave it, and if that's a goal that you truly want, I think you could spend 2-3 hours after work on that and create something for sure. If you were to do like maybe 10 hours a week, let's just say you do 2 hours one day, 3 hours the second day, and then maybe another 2 hours the next day after that, I think you can create something for sure. Like maybe web design, you might want to make a drop shipping store. I think you can have enough time to be able to work on that slowly while you're at the mines. But like you said, it has to be, I guess, structured. You have to have a schedule.
Routine, yeah.
And I think, routine and scheduling is something so important. So you're on top of what you're doing and knowing what you're doing, but also making sure you've got the times set out so you can actually know what time you can pull into that or push into that or pour into that for a fact, So
I do free ball a lot, but like...
You do?
Just going through day with the flow, you know. Sometimes I feel like going to the gym. Sometimes I feel like just chilling. Sometimes I feel like jumping on my laptop, like learning some things. And sometimes, I just feel like not doing anything. And that's what it does to you in the mines. You spend 12.5-hour days at work, then you would start to understand and realise that you are completely drained after work. Plus you got to go for dinner. Plus you got to go have a shower. Plus this, plus that. There's always a lot of things, and it's hard to fit in certain things in the time frame that you have. But yeah, creating a routine, structured routine is probably the best thing.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's good that you still have a bit of a structure there for yourself. Yeah. I love that. So next question's from Monica, which is really cool, Bailey's girlfriend. So she said, how can you get a deeper connection with God?
So yeah, I think you're better off with this question. Like, I believe in God, but what I do believe in, the first thing to find a deep connection is you got to find a connection within yourself. You have to go deeper within yourself and find out who your true self is. Like, if you watched our last episode with Navar, that's what he explains, finding your higher self. If you want to have a more connection with God.
Yeah, nice. That's a really good answer. I think that's the same for me and stuff, what you said. I think it starts internally. I think it means to participate in things that are going to make you more pure. I think participating in things that are not going to be participating in things that are like hedonism and things like that. I think when you're exercising, you're drinking water, you're praying, you're speaking words of encouragement. And I think that if you're sort of reading the word or anything in that and doing any type of practices that are spiritually fulfilling in a spiritual manner, I think, that's a deeper connection with God as well. But I think also communicating, conversing, having a bit of a conversation, but also, like you said, it comes down to your higher self. So I think once you work on yourself, because obviously we are made in God's image, we're made to be like him in somewhat form. I think when you connect with yourself more and you uprise yourself and you become a higher caliber man, I think that makes you more connected with God because you're becoming the best version of yourself. And also, even though I don't really label myself under any religion, it says it in quite a bit of different books, but in the Bible it says, we're like God's best creation. So I think just being the best versions of ourselves and fulfilling that duty within ourselves to be the best version of ourselves, I think it's going to deeper, root ourselves within our connection with God and, so on and so forth.
No, that's exactly right, bro. Don't really have much else to add on that.
No, that's cool. No, that's easy.
I've got another question here. Bear with us, guys.
No, that's so good. But yeah, now God's a really interesting thing, and I think, it has to be important to grow yourself. It is important to grow yourself spiritually, and I think everyone should grow themselves spiritually as well because, we're physical beings, but also we have our spirit. So, practices that are needed like breath work and a lot of different things. That's important.
No, I love that. So I got a question here from Kylie. What are the ways psychedelic mushrooms benefit us? So, I mean, it's hard to answer that through our own experience because, I've never really messed around with mushrooms. Back in the day, I used to mess around with like psychedelics, just not mushrooms. But I guess like a lot of people can say, like mushrooms can help you with your thinking process, how you commute through your day. I know a lot of people that used to microdose on like certain psychedelics and just to help them get through their days a bit easier, come up with creative ideas, But yeah, I can't really add much else on that because I haven't really experienced it myself.
Yeah, same. That's true. I haven't really experienced it much myself as well. I'd say that what you said is probably correct as well. There's people that microdose and, they get more creative and helps out with mental health. I'm pretty sure they're actually thinking about legalizing mushrooms as well, magic mushrooms, because it helps out with people's mental health, right? People's clarity, people's aspect of self-esteem and everything as well. I think that mushrooms can be way more better than pharmaceuticals. I think it can be used if it's
natural.
used and it's more natural. God has put everything down here for us. So I think if it grows on the floor, it can be used. And I think that our ancestors used to use it for a reason. I think it helps connect with your higher self in somewhat form. And like you said before, once again, it gets you pretty creative and, thinking outside of the box as well. Because when you're sober, I guess you have a very rigid and a very conditioned mind. But I think when you and you have walls, but I think when you have magic mushrooms or psychedelics, it sort of opens up those walls or puts those walls down so you can sort of tap into different thought patterns, different ways of operating as well. And there's actually a story of somewhere in Japan, actually, I'm pretty sure it's Hong Kong or Japan. They were trying to build the underground tunnels like a subway and everything as well. And it had professional engineers. And these professional engineers, or there's probably about 5-6 of them, they were trying to figure out the right route for the trains, underground in the subway. So they actually ended up planting a magic mushroom, psilocybin, which is, the name for magic mushrooms, underground technically, or on their map and everything, and ended up tracking the right route better than the engineers. So it sort of makes sense that, when you have magic mushrooms, it can help you route out different neurons in your brain and different neurological pathways and maybe spark up new neurological pathways for success, but also creativity.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that's
good answer.
Yeah, no, thank you, bro. So the next question is from my cousin, actually, Ellie, young one, she's only 15. But she wrote, what sparks you to have a motivation for you to get up to become an established man?
I think we could go back to one of the first questions was, what drives you? I think it would be the same spark.
Yeah.
Wanting to be someone different, not wanting to be the sheep and just follow people, wanting to be your own unique person in your own life, creating either success through what we're doing now, podcasting or businesses or, whatever, makes you happy. But I think my main spark is family. Wanting to help my family more than helping myself. I want to do this for a legacy, like you said as well, and just showing my family what's possible. I want to be the one to rock up to a family event with a Lamborghini. Let's just say, that could be a spark there, But I think family is probably my main spark.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, that's really important. I think, family, it's sort of what you just said before, and this mention, it links back to what we said before. It could be, family last name. It could be respecting the family last name. It could be respecting God. It could be wanting more for yourself. It could be greed. It could be power. It could be a lot of multiple different things, different perceptions, just different ways. It's like, I guess life, it can be like an onion, like I said before. It's a lot of different layers to it, a lot of ways to view things. But there's one thing I read in the Bible recently as well, even though, don't get me wrong, I don't label myself under any religion at the moment, but it said it's either you conform to the world or you be ye transformed. And what that means to me is it's either you conform to the world, meaning that you conform to people's warped perceptions. It's either you conform to your limited version of yourself or you be ye transformed, meaning that you either be the limitless version of yourself and you become the best version of yourself that you can ever become as well. And there's a good quote that I made up when I was actually looking at that. It says, if you're not ready to sacrifice, you are already conforming. So if you're not ready to be ye transformed or sacrifice at all, you are already conforming. You know what I mean? As soon as you make a decision not to step up, as soon as you make a decision not to transform, as soon as you make a decision not to have that spark inside of you to be an established man, you're already conforming. You're conforming to a certain reality that's going to keep you bound and binded to things that are not going to be beneficial for you long term. I guess it could be mentally, it could be physically, all these other aspects, all these different buckets of life. So I think it's, good to be transformed. It's good to step up. It's good to have that spark no matter what. I think that's really important.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. I love
Thank
that
you,
answer.
brother. So the next question from my little baby cousin, shout out to you. I love you very much. Much love, and I'll speak to you soon, and I'll see you next. So what's the difference between the traits of a man or a boy?
Difference between the traits of a man and a boy. I guess there's a lot of different traits. A man could be someone that wakes up early in the morning, goes to work, works for their family, provides for their family and, friends. And then a boy could be someone that wakes up and looks for the next trap house to sit at all day. Or, wakes up to go party and, deal drugs or, whatever they want to do. It comes down to, a boy and a man, like you could even mean like a kid. What's the difference between a kid and a man?
Yeah.
So it's really hard to answer a question like that when there's a lot more to it.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's very broad, isn't it? It's a very broad spectrum of different qualities and different traits and different, core values and so on and so forth. I'll keep it nice and simple and sweet. I think accountability and I think acting on emotion. I think for men, take accountability, do what you have to do regardless of how you feel. Boys, they do what feels good. What's easy, what feels good, what's quick, what's instant. But I think men, accountability, delayed gratification, so on and so forth. But also there's men that, act like boys, where they act on emotions and they don't take accountability and they act on, emotions once again, but also they want things instantly. So I think, but a real man of caliber and, masculinity, I think accountability and delayed gratification, being who you have to be. Boys, kids, they do what feels good. To keep it nice and simple, I think that would be it.
No, that's a good answer, actually.
Yeah.
So I got a question from Pesh. He sent in 3 questions, but I'll just read out one of them.
Yeah.
How do you personally deal with the skills you have gained through practice, being patient and knowing that your end goal is coming true, even if you can't see it yet?
Okay, interesting. That's a good one. I think for me, continuing to be patient, I think that it's like what Navar said in our other podcast, I am that I am. So I think that the reality that you want, the existence that you want, the future goal that you want, you're already that person. You're already that person in the future. You're already that person right now. So I think that even though it has not came just yet, it's just about the cause and effect. It's about the action that you continue to put in that you're going to get out. Because with every action, there's a reaction with things, right? And I think that, what you sow is what you reap. So I think maybe it has not you can't click your fingers and it can come to you, but it's creating, it's slowly forming. Your reality and the goals that you truly want is slowly evolving. It's creating itself. All the pieces are coming together. So it's just continuing to work on your personal development and putting those pieces on the puzzle together for the masterpiece or the canva to be painted and completely created.
I definitely agree with you on that one. I think personally for me is if I gaining these skills and knowledge, obviously, and I can see an end result, I think personally for me, I'll just keep going. That's how I'll deal with it. Just keep moving forward, staying humble on your journey. Life's going to throw you a lot of things at you, but it's all about how you can deal with it and how you can, overcome that stressful situation that you're going through. But, I think at the end of the day, you can always reach your goals, but really, is there an end to it? No, it's not, because you can always make new goals. You can always become better. You can always have more potential. So, I think personally for me is just, keep moving forward and keep creating and kicking goals.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's the only thing you can do. It's either you keep creating or you be stagnant, a puddle, or you can be like like an ocean, like a river that's always flowing as well, always making movement, always making the transitioning points as well, always pivoting, always looking at opportunity, creating. I think that's the most important thing as well for life, being able to step up and never give up. Because otherwise you're going to be conforming.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
So no, that's good. So we got another person, Ash, family friend of mine. All love to you, Ash, as well. I'll see you sometime soon. So his first question, we'll go through 2 of these or so. So his first question is, this will be a good one, does an independent woman need a man?
Well, you could even say, does an independent man need a woman?
Yeah.
You know, so what I believe is, yes, they do.
Yeah.
Just as much as an independent man needs a woman. And talking a bit more on that is, if you're independent as a woman and independent as a man, you're a perfect match. You're not always down each other's throats. You're not always, wondering what's going on and what's happening, You have that trust and loyalty within the relationship to be independent and to do your own things on your own terms. So, yeah, I think 100%, yeah. Independent woman needs a man.
Yeah, absolutely. Same. What you said was definitely correct as well. I do believe in traditional views as well with men leading, and even what it says in the Bible. It says the woman submit to the men while the men submit to God. You know what I mean? So I think it's always been like that for me. My views have always been traditional, but to tap into the questions, I think no one can actually be independent. I think we can experience levels of independence, some aspects of independence, but I don't think we can actually be independent, because independent is being able to do everything yourself. But for men and women, it's like what you said before, a man still needs a woman as well. We all still rely on people for something. We still rely on a boss for a payment, for a paycheck. We still rely on a business partner. We still rely on our best man, Ben, behind the scenes, producing things and stuff as well. We still rely on people to help out with producing things and, aspects of our life. We still rely on people to fix our car, the mechanic as well. So I think no one can actually truly be independent, because there's still aspects of our life outside of a relationship for, people to do things for us as well. So we can experience aspects of independence, but we can never be independent, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes 100% sense. That's really good, actually. I like that answer.
And Ashley's got another question. Is it possible to love someone like a partner unconditionally? If yes, how so? If not, how so?
I think, it is possible to love someone unconditionally. Like, obviously, you love your family unconditionally. They don't have to do nothing and you still love them. So you're gonna love them no matter what. But if it comes down to like a woman, I think you can love a woman unconditionally, 100%. It just depends who you are and how different you are. Like what they provide for you and what you provide for them. It goes both ways.
Yeah, no, interesting. I think it definitely goes both ways as well. I'd probably argue the point that I think most men would probably love unconditionally more for, other than women. I think for men, like, we don't rely, let's just say, for an example, a man that's a millionaire will date a girl that works at McDonald's, but let's switch it around. If a girl was a multi-millionaire, she wouldn't date a guy that works at McDonald's, because usually women date up. They end up using or wanting to date someone that, I guess, has a successful future or maybe has something going for themselves, good personality, so on and so forth. I think for a guy, it's a lot more simpler. I think for an example, like, if you're feminine, you're nice, you respect me, bring peace to my world, I think that's good. But for a woman, I think you have to have all these aspects to love someone. Does it make sense?
Yeah,
Different conditions as well. Like, I love you on the condition that you provide and protect for me. I love you on the conditions that you're this type of man. I love you on the conditions that there's all these, values that you have to have for a man. I think it's just way more simpler.
No, I definitely agree.
Way more simpler as well. But it doesn't mean that a woman can't love a man unconditionally. I think they still can, but it just has to have a really special woman to be able to tap into that as well.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, because usually biologically, even though women agree to it or not, biologically women look for security as well. So I think, like, even though they might say, I like guys for personality and stuff, in their mind, biologically, it's just wired that I want a guy that sort of has something going for himself, and that's a condition itself. I think for a man, you could be making a lot of money, a girl could be broke. It's because, I love you, you're pretty, you're hot, you give me peace, you're cool, come into my life, I'll take you on board, if that makes sense.
I definitely agree with that. Man, you could be a love guru.
Maybe I should be a love coach next, a dating coach, sexual dating marketplace.
So I asked this last question because I'm running out a bit of time. But this one's from Leanne. Actually came in as we walked into this room. So, do you believe people can change? That's the first question. And then the second question is, what's your favourite quote? And then the third question is, what first inspired you to help people?
Easy. Do you reckon you could read out the first one again?
Yes, so the first one, do you believe people can change?
Yeah, absolutely. I think people can change. I think if people really want to change as well, but they need to want to change inside as well. They can't expect things to be changed on the outer world. They can't continue to look for all these things on the outer world to change when everything comes internal. It links back to what you were saying before. When it comes to your connection with God, with your truest self, it comes to your internal world. It comes down to the quality of the kingdom inside rather than the kingdom outside. And I think, once the kingdom inside gets fulfilled and you deconstruct some things, like what Navar said, preconceived ideas. And you build up these new ideas, these new ways of creativity and change and positivity and abundance. I think that can all come into your existence. But I think it also comes with, just building the inner kingdom. Once the inner kingdom is sowed and you've reaped everything, it's going to be abundant outside. And things are definitely going to change in the 3D world from your views, so
I
absolutely.
agree with you. And you could say we're living proof, you know. At the end of the day, I believe anyone can change. It just depends what and how they do it. Like for us, for example, we aren't the people we are today. Oh, we aren't the people we are today without going through our past and changing and creating the change that we needed. So, it all comes down to like what you just said, creating that higher self, building the kingdom within yourself to actually change. There's a lot of like, let's say, a homeless person, for example, or like a crackhead or something. They can can change. They have the possibility and the potential to change, but do they want to?
Yeah,
it all comes down to them.
Yeah, for sure. And change, I think that links to your change. It links to your why. So your change links to your why, and I think because your why power is your willpower. So depending on how much of a desire you want and why you want to change is depending on how much you will actually change, because that will end up being your willpower because of your why power. If your why power is so potent and it's a substance and everything, and it has a lot of, grit behind it as well, you'll definitely make the change that you want to, because the why power, that desire that you really want to is, it's holding you bound and stuff. As well, that change that's down here, that why, it's up here, you know what I mean? The best version of yourself, your true self, the upgraded, the potency, the potent man that you want to become is depending on your why, is depending on your change, how big your change will be, depending on how big your trajectory will be, how big and how wide you'll send on end up transcending. So,
and you need to implant that why into your brain so hard to the point you actually do change.
Absolutely.
So, favorite quote. I think my favorite quote that I've always gone by is, "If you always do what you always did, you always get what you always got."
Nice.
And explain that a bit more is, if you're always doing the same thing every day, you're always going to get that same result. So stepping out of your comfort zone and doing something different is what's going to change you and not give you what you're always, what you're always doing.
Nice.
So I think that's a quote that I've actually lived by in some way.
Yeah. Nice. I love that. That's really good. That's a good quote as well, because you're always going to get what you always got if you always did what you always did, and nothing's going to ever change. Your reality is never ever going to change if you're always going to be doing what you always got. So that's why I guess being able to be adaptable, I think, that links to adaptability, being able to adapt to new things, new outcomes, new ways of operating, new schedules, new versions of yourself, new ideas. I guess new business partners, new jobs, new sites, everything. I think once you do that, you can be limitless in every single realm of human endeavor. And one of my favorite quotes I'd say is, "Don't pray for a lighter load, pray for a stronger back." And I guess I'll break that down a little bit as well. I may as well. I think, praying for a lighter load, that means that it's like what I said before, conforming to the world. So if you just want to pray for a lighter load because it's getting a little bit hard, you're just going to be conforming to a certain reality. But praying for a stronger back means that you're just going to still put your emotions aside and, obviously end up executing what you need to execute to, get to the levels of success that you really want to hit, the levels of success that you really want to obtain and require,
And carry the weight.
Yeah, absolutely. Carry it away for yourself. And I think, why not? So pray for a lighter load. Don't pray for a lighter load, pray for a stronger back.
That's really good, actually. We'll quickly just answer this
last question. That's cool. Same person?
Yeah, same person. Yeah. What first inspired you to help people?
I think it's always been in my nature. I can't really call the time, but I think it's always been like that. I think it's been like that before I came into the world. I think as soon as I came out my mum's womb, I was always destined and had a purpose to help people, to empower people, to be a leader, to lead by example. I think I could probably name a couple of points and aspects of why I think, I'm inspired to help people, but I think it even came into my life, came a part of my destiny. It was hardwired in me since I came out of the womb.
Yeah, 100%. I definitely agree with you. I could be the same. Like, I know me and you, when we were in our teenage years, we were generous. We were always that generous person that would give and give and give and not expect anything back. So I think I could say the same, but what first inspired me was seeing the reaction, being that person to help, being that person on the street to help someone in need, only because I believe that good karma And if I was in that situation, I would want someone to help. And we need these people in life, in society, that just help out of their own will. And I think that's what inspired me, is being able to help when I can, and being in a position where I can help now makes me feel even better.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's actually inside of most men as well. I think being able to lead by example, and I think also being able to handle and feel the weight of the world on your shoulders, even if that means that you sacrifice and suffer a little bit for your family or whatever, as, you know, the head of the household or the head of your clan or tribe, or just being a man. I think it's hardwired in a lot of men to be able to sacrifice yourself to protect your family, you know, going to war and everything like that, being able to inspire people, step on stage to speak in front of thousands of people. It's always been based on doing that for people as well, you know, doing that for encouragement, doing that for blessings, doing that for, you know, no expectations as well. I think that's when you truly receive your manifestation through that too. So that's good that, you know, you've got that and you've been doing that and you've been living to your word and being true to your character, to your true nature. Comes down to your true nature as well. It's a part of you. I guess it's a part of what was, you know, gifted to you before you actually came out of the womb. So
yeah, and I think it's a good question to end on, because speaking to our audience is help us help you. You know, if you want to see something in this podcast that we're doing, or if you want to see a certain thing, let us know. Let us help you. You know, even if you just want to have a chat, we're always here to chat. Comes down to mental health, comes down to anything. If you're just feeling down, give us a bell. Me and JJ are more than happy to, you know, have a yarn with you. You know, even if it's shits and gigs, give us a buzz. But anyways, that concludes of the session today of the Q&A. We will definitely be doing some more of these episodes. I think this one went really well, and we want to see more questions. Me and JJ want to sit here for 2 hours even and have a yarn about questions. You know, if that's what you want to see, just let us know. But yeah, hope you take care and see you on the next.
Nice one, my man.